Hey there, and welcome back to Untamed Women. I'm Ezra.
And I'm Jenny.
We're a couple of history geeks with a passion for stories of remarkable women who've played powerful roles in history.
Every week we'll sit down together and one of us will research and tell the story of our untamed woman.
While the other gets to kick back, relax, and listen to an incredible story.
And this is Untamed Women.
It's really good to do that again, though. I love it.
I know. I feel like, okay, I'm learning. Like, okay, I gotta take my in-breath before you finish, because I notice you finish and then I breathe in to speak.
I do the same thing.
Well, we're getting better. We're getting faster.
We left off last season with some pretty dark stories. Heavy, which I love. I love a good bit of drama. Really complicated, and I started to I think it was you that mentioned it. We were kind of done being in Europe for a bit. It's like, This is fun, this is cool, but let's go somewhere else. We talked about Asia, which is going to happen, but then I think, I don't know, we just kind of landed on the West.
The Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
A change of scenery.
It's a completely different world. I am pretty much looking forward to that, and so we've been brainstorming for a while, just different women that have played roles, from indigenous American women to women who made their way out as part of the Oregon Trail, or just in general westward expansion, the creating the United States as we know it today. So
I made a face because I will want to say that colonialism is bad.
Yeah,
Manifest Destiny is bad.
Yeah.
And we obviously, I think people can see our political leanings, at least mine, now. And while I don't condone what the American history in that way, I don't agree. We're here to tell the stories of the women who existed in that time and place and did their best in their context. I just wanted to say that it's important to me. But we're not here to get into the politics of it. I just wanted to say that it is not lost on me, and I care about the history, and I know American history is brutal.
We'll try to take a nuanced approach, of course, and try to display stories of not just, Anglo-American women, but, Native American, Indigenous American women, just a spread as well.
And yeah, change of scenery. We did a lot of queens.
Yeah.
We did a lot of rich people in the last season, and it's a breath of fresh air to talk about, real normal people. Thank God. And about the Wild Wild West, there's more diaries. There's more documentation from all range of classes, not just the rich people, like in the old Europe, which we were doing. So I'm really excited.
I will say, on that note of documentation, though, with this particular story, just a bit of, I don't want to say user's warning, but, just a little bit of salt here, I guess. It was really hard to put this together. The time period that we're going to be in, we're going to be in the mid-1800s to late 1800s, and despite that being really recent compared to most of our subjects, documentation is sparse, and there are so many sources that you can read, and every single one is a different story. So with this particular story today, I just want to have a little bit of nuance with you guys. This is the absolute best that I could throw together, but the really cool thing about this is that because it was so recent, there is some photography.
Oh.
But the problem is, do we have photos of her?
Still no.
Well, I'll pull one up online that you can see. But anyways, all right, on that note, Untamed Lady, are you ready to go?
Let's go.
Cool. So, we begin our story in 1859.
Are you not going to ask me if I know anything about her?
Oh, shit. Oh my God.
It's just a good habit, I think.
Have you ever heard of a lady named Pearl DeVere?
No.
Good.
I stopped you to say no, I don't know anything about her.
And this girl has access to the list of women.
I like the surprise.
I do too. I try not to check it. We'll write it down in the beginning of the season and then just forget about it. And then it's like, yeah. Well, Pearl DeVere.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you now, it's not her original name. It's not her given name when she's born. Her name that she receives when she's born in 1859 is Eliza Martin. Her father was a veteran of the Civil War. Her mother was described simply as Mrs. Martin or Nancy. She's the daughter of a pretty normal couple in Indiana, so it's, farther from the east. But it's not like super western either. There would have been towns, there would have been a pretty healthy trade route, pretty established roads. It's still difficult to get to Indiana, but it's not.
It's not Oregon.
We know that she's one of 5. The order isn't given. What of the siblings is she? The youngest, the oldest, the middle? Probably the middle. If it's not given, I feel like it would have been remarked upon that she had been the oldest or the youngest. And then for some reason, the family decides to, well, some of the family decide to move out west to Denver in 1877 when she was 17 years old. Yeah. I grew up in Colorado. I actually grew up on a cattle ranch, so I have an idea of the setting. Even today, you drive an hour north outside the city, and it is wild. I'm not talking down. I'm very proud of where I'm from, okay? But it is, you go back. You go back in time.
I'll add to that. It's that me and my husband took a 4-month road trip all over the west of the U.S. up to South Dakota. That's as far as we went east. The roads in Colorado, I looked it up, and it's one of the least paved states, something like that. And so it was wild.
That's so bizarre, because you go to Denver or you go to Boulder and you see everything's built up. There are restaurants right there, but no. Where I grew up feels a lot like this story. Anyways, that was a tangent, but
still wild today.
But that's exactly it. So if you can imagine my growing up 20 years ago to back in the 1850s, this would have been even more undeveloped. It would have been pretty stark for somebody coming from the East Coast with factories and foreign goods being pulled into port there. Yeah, you had to pay a premium for silk coming from Asia, but you could still get it. It was still a realistic prospect versus out west. Best of luck getting what you want.
At this time.
So the family moves out to Denver. She's 17. People had been in this area for about 13,000 years. Again, as we mentioned kind of earlier, indigenous people had been there for 13,000 years. Europeans in Colorado, they only arrive around the late 18th century. But really, for coming up to this point, the story of Colorado is on the perspective of Europeans. It's just a story of people trying to come here, set up something, and then kind of failing.
In Colorado specifically?
Yeah. Well, and in general across the West, too. It's several tries to come in and out. Eventually, though, from the 18th century all the way up until the, late 19th century, we start getting these trading posts that are established around where people could buy fur mainly, but other things too that you just couldn't make yourself. Like if there was a bolt of fabric that you needed or you didn't have the mill to make flour, you could buy flour from this. So there are trading points there, but again, I really think it's important to not underestimate how hostile a land like Colorado could be. This was still a gamble moving out there. You're gonna have to survive on your own. I think you had mentioned to me earlier, what was it? People moving out west, it was like 10% of them would die.
Yeah, a huge number. Like if I'm talking here, I was looking up about the Oregon Trail specifically because that's my jam. People who are making that trip knew that they had, I think it was about 10%. The rate of death is 10%.
Yeah, that's
generally.
Yeah, and I mean,
you might die. Your family might die. Disease, death, the elements.
But it also makes you wonder too.
Did I say disease, death? Disease, just random
accidental death.
Yeah, accidental death.
Being bit by a rattlesnake. That's
bandits,
absolutely. With indigenous people too would have been absolutely huge. It's kind of where I want to lead into my next point, just talking about the Wild West that was Colorado. Colorado was just recovering. I mean, in the middle of the Civil War, there was this, quote, armed conflict, which I really would call a battle. And this conflict was between several indigenous nations. And again, I'm going to try my best to pronounce these. The Kiowa, the Comanche, the Arapaho, and the Cheyenne nations. 4 nations of indigenous folks were fighting. We have the Civil War going on. I mean, if I was looking at it, if I was coming from the East Coast, I would not move to Colorado unless I had no other choice. And then this thing props up in the 1850s. We have a gold rush. It burns through Colorado. I mean, it spreads like wildfire. And all of a sudden, you get these people showing up to Colorado. They come out, they want money, they see opportunity, especially if you come from the East Coast where, there was once again social inequity, people are hungry. And if they're hungry enough, if their conditions are bad enough, they leave the East Coast and they move out west.
I mean, if you don't have any options, you don't see a future.
No.
You take a risk.
Why not? So you're getting a lot of people who want money, people who are trying to get better. Well, the one main thing though is that all of these people want a better life. And Eliza is one of them. Now, her family arrives in 1877. At some point they must have gone back. There was nothing I could find on them going back, but at some point they must have gone back, but she stayed in Denver. And she told her family, or somehow her family was led to believe, that she was working as a fashion designer, hat maker, or a dress designer.
I have a feeling.
Yeah, no. She's working.
She embellished.
She's working around dresses, yeah.
Yeah, so she embellished.
Yeah, roughly at the age of 17, she starts doing sex work for wealthy men in Denver. I had read other sources that said as early as 14. Again, I don't want to diminish the value in that either, but we'll leave it there. So she starts doing sex work at 17. She's no longer Eliza, but instead she changes her name. She calls herself Mrs. Isabel Martin. So Mrs. Martin is making her money in Denver. This would have been a developed place that you could get luxuries. You could get champagne and wine. You could get caviar. You could get hot baths and running water. So Denver is, starting to build up now. But even though Denver is going to be built up, there's still kind of an imbalance between men and women. So her as a woman selling sex would have been a huge commodity. It would have been a luxury. And she definitely knew to capitalize on this. You've got all these opportunities there to make money. You can charge what you like because you've got something that nobody else really has. But she's noted to being creative, dynamic, and beautiful. And around this point, she starts being described as a dove, like an innocent-looking bird, a pretty white bird. Now, early on, 1887, she marries a man called Albert Young. It was specifically noted that they lived apart. All of this is so bizarre.
That's odd.
Yeah. She gave birth to a daughter who we kind of lose record of, but apparently was given up for adoption. Again, all of these things, these details are like kind of...
It's unclear.
It's very unclear.
But it was probably meant to be. Like, she wasn't proud of it. It's not like she wanted... Maybe it was shameful or... Like, it's not surprising that the information is hard to find because she probably wanted it to be hard to find.
Well, there you are. So she's moved out west. She's married this guy, had a baby, and then gives them up for adoption. And after the birth, there's this change that happens with her. This girl from Illinois, she's gone. What she does is she dyes her hair red. She starts buying expensive clothes and jewelry, and she changes her name one more time. And the reason for this, I don't know. Is it pain? Is it ambition? But the result nonetheless was wow.
Well, okay.
It's gonna be cool.
I wanted to know her new name. I'm getting impatient.
Well, her new name, Mrs. Young? No. I'm not Albert Young's wife. My name is Pearl DeVere. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of where she starts calling herself Pearl, which I love that. Can imagine red hair, right, naturally is, significant enough, but then synthetic red hair. Now, Pearl DeVere, we're going to call her no more Eliza, no more Mrs. Young. She is Pearl DeVere from this point.
There's just something about name changes that are so powerful. It makes me think of Marilyn Monroe. That's little Norma Jean.
That's
for example.
Literally what this is. The script has been there for a millennia, So she leaves Denver. She's speculating herself. She's going to go to Cripple Creek where there's a boom in the gold rush. People are men.
Let's be clear, yeah.
Are going out there to try to speculate on land and dig for gold. And she's digging for gold too, right? But
actually, call her a gold digger.
Well, but she's not digging actually. You know what? No, instead she's got her hand held out and she's having them hand it to her instead. They're literally giving her money into her hand that they're digging up. I mean,
she's accepting.
She's a business girl. Mm-hmm. I love it. Cripple Creek that she moves to once again is tent city. It is maybe built up with sticks. But again, we don't have very many trees. It is very barren. So you got to wait for wood to come from the East Coast. It's to be delivered on wagon. There isn't a train yet. So it takes time to really build this place up. And this Pearl DeVere with her red hair looking so metropolitan, I mean, she would have been
Striking.
That would have been really striking, especially as a man working in a mine, dark, sooty, smoky conditions, and, you stink. Everybody around you stinks. And then you go to her and you can smell her perfume and see her pretty dresses. This would have been somebody you wanted to buy a drink. Sex appeal.
Class.
Well, class.
Or like cultural capital, if you want to be political about it.
That's very much what that is. She's got cultural capital.
She's special.
She
stands out.
She's tough. Within a few months of moving, she's able to buy her own house on the main street and hire several girls.
Girls. Okay.
Yeah, the wording of this too. Women, girls, what does that even mean?
I mean, I think in this context it makes sense. Like, working girls, like, that's how...
Right, that's how we say it?
Yeah, the girls.
But what is the connotation? Are they like 15? Are they like 18?
Oh, that's funny.
Are they 20? That's kind of my thought.
I didn't think of it in that way.
That's, that was my kind of air quotes girls. So anyways.
Okay.
So
I was thinking more like the girls. The gals.
The gals. Yeah, like modern context.
Yeah. But like, I guess how old were they?
We don't know.
We don't
even have their names.
Probably young.
Yeah, that's the problem. Anyways, she moves to the main street. She hires several girls. She earns a couple of nicknames. My favorite, the Soiled Dove of Cripple Creek.
I hate it. Soiled Dove.
Yep.
So a pigeon.
Well, she also only hired the prettiest girls in the camp. And she eventually moves her business, when she moves her business to the main street in the center of town, she's described as, quote, an attractive 31-year-old woman with red hair and a slender build, unquote.
So why would they call her a soiled dove then?
Well, because she's selling her sexual favors,
She's, quote unquote, dirty.
There you go.
Okay.
She was also known to be an excellent businesswoman, too. She didn't bend the knee to anyone. She was tough on her pricing. She was tough on her standards. As part of elevating her business in the center of town, too, she didn't just allow her employees, if we can call them that, to succumb to the common kind of dirt and grime that was across the city and or a rough standard of life. She pushed them to have good hygiene, to dress well. She pays them well, too. She tried to take care of them in the way she knew how, it sounds like. She had a doctor that would come and visit them monthly.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I would rather work for her than a man.
Well,
I mean, it sounds like.
I mean,
you don't have a choice.
If I was in this position, you know what? Yeah. In the success of her brothel in the center of Cripple Creek, she reigned over the town like a queen. Here's my queen. Mm-hmm. She drove.
You turn every woman into a queen.
But no, it was written down on the sources that she was the queen of Cripple Creek. I love it.
But there's my queen. You make every woman a queen. Take it.
With her success, apparently she drives herself in a small open carriage with a team of black horses. And she would just drive around. Nobody can afford to keep a horse long. If you've moved out and you're settling, you probably end up selling.
Well, yeah, you sell your horse for a house.
Everything.
or home or tent or any number of things that you need.
And she is just riding around town in a beautiful open carriage, and she is riding around in a new outfit every single day. She's noted as never having worn them twice.
That would be very expensive.
Right.
Back then.
Right. Well, in the camp of like, oh, can we get flour? And then you've got this like neon red-haired woman riding around in a new dress every day. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. There was no fast fashion then.
No.
Everything was handmade.
Yep. Okay. Well, during this pearl rush, I suppose we can call it, she apparently falls in love. She gets married to a man named C.B. Flynn. He was a mill owner, so cutting up wood. Fantastic.
I can't help but to ask, what happened to her first husband? A little aqua tofana?
We have no idea. You were right on the money, too. What the hell happened? I don't know. Nobody knows.
I mean, in
so
those days...
she a bigamous marriage, obviously, if she hadn't been divorced.
Well, I'm sure he probably died. Like, in those days, death is
he's dying.
A Tuesday.
That's literally it. So
she has a new husband, okay.
She has a new husband, yep. Or a second one, I guess. Yeah. CJ Flynn, he's a wealthy mill owner, so he doesn't want her money, right? Mm-hmm. He's got his own money. He's got his own business. She's got her own business. Oh, and this next detail, I mean, well, this part of the story would have been an absolute scandal across the camp, right? You've got more women and families kind of showing up to camp now, following the men that had come out there, and then seeing this prominent businessman who's supposed to be respectful, along with Pearl DeVere,
The soiled dove.
the soiled dove. I mean, it would have been so striking to see this couple compared to everybody else in the town. As the 1890s kind of roll along, more families are coming out from the eastern United States. They really didn't like the idea of a sex worker being that close proximity to them, right? I don't want to go in the shop and see your face. I don't want to have to identify you in the street. So the marshals in town, basically, I guess, cops, they start charging her a monthly tax for her work. So for each girl she has, she pays $6 for a monthly tax for each girl, and because she's the madam, she is going to pay $16. So it's, you know.
So they're charging her business fees, but they're not arresting her.
No, that's just it. It's a fine.
Fine.
It's a fine. She's literally paying tax. That's
Exactly,
that's what that is.
exactly.
But
Just
it's
like
not.
Facebook.
It's not a tax. It's not a tax. It's a fine.
Sure, but like at that level, it doesn't feel it's not really
Punitive.
Thank you. It's like it becomes a business fee. It's
Yeah.
a cost of doing business.
So $6, which is so the average worker, it was noted a miner that day would make $3 a day. So this is kind of big, kind of a slap on the hand too for her.
So it's not nothing.
It's not nothing, but it's not like huge either.
It doesn't shut down her business. It's not going to make her sell her horses.
But the point is it gave kind of some. It threw a bone to the respectable women of the camp, of the town of Cripple Creek.
Okay.
But it doesn't really stop her. She and her girls, instead of going during the main hours of the day to go shopping, they would go after hours as to not, quote, distress the respectable women, unquote. Anyways, the whole money thing too, the fines, it's really not going to bother her. Each guest had to pay a door fee when they came into her house in the center of town. And an overnight rate, so like top tier service, was $250, or roughly translated, that's going to be about $7,000.
That's a lot.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
I saw $250 and I thought, what, maybe like $1,000? $7,000?
Well, if the girls are making $3 a day,
Right?
and then suddenly $250 in
Right.
one night, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Now, we're on the top of everything, right? Things can't get any better. And then, dang it, we're gonna get some tragedy here. Within months of being married, life's gonna change for her once again, as was very common, and I think we already went over it. Buildings across town, they're built entirely of wood, burlap.
It's ready for fire.
Yeah, there you are. So these dry conditions were begging for disaster to happen. All it took could be one ember, one cigar butt thrown on the ground, and, well,
Up in flames.
yep. We don't know the cause of this fire, but it destroys almost everything for almost everyone. CB, his mill, is destroyed. He ends up leaving town and he takes a job in Monterrey. So he goes to Mexico hoping to recover his financial losses that literally went up in smoke.
I'm like, in California?
Close.
No. My bad.
It's fine. But Pearl, she's this gritty, tough character. She stays. She doesn't follow her husband. She stays and she decides to just rebuild. And just like a phoenix from the ashes, she borrows some money from a lender in New York. And in the same spot where her first house burned down, she builds a place called the Old Homestead in 1896. She upgrades that former structure from wood to brick. She had the most expensive luxuries that the average person in the camp really couldn't dream of. Lamps, carpets, hardwood furniture, an intercom system, a telephone, a piano. Each of the girls' rooms had a changing screen. You know what that is, yeah. Changing screen, a little like room divider. An intercom system, a telephone, which not many other people had a telephone, so it's like, what the hell are you doing with that?
I was gonna say, like, this
Yeah.
is at the beginning of phones.
They also, each of the girls too, they got a trunk that had a lock so they could protect their personal things. And there were servants too that really kept the whole place in operation. There was a cook, a housekeeper, 2 chambermaids, 2 butlers, and a musician, of course.
Wow,
The
so this
necessities.
is a really thorough, like, if you're going to be in this line of work, you want that to be your employer. You want that to be your office.
You very much want this to be your office. And during this whole fire, then reconstruction thing too, she doesn't just think about herself. It was noted that she donated to the rebuilding of local churches. So she's thinking of her community. Maybe she's doing it to be kind of sassy too, like the churches don't want me, so I'm going to donate. So, you know what I mean? There's so much nuance that we don't have on this that we can just kind of impose on it. But she does donate to the rebuilding of
the city.
Churches. Yeah.
And churches. Yeah. Okay, so she's like a good member of the community.
She seems to be really contributing. She's a known personality, very much the queen of Cripple Creek, the soiled dove of Cripple Creek, right? Last hurrah here. So on the 4th of June, 1897, Pearl was tasked with hosting a large party on behalf of someone called, quote, an admirer, unquote. Do we have his name?
No.
No.
Well, he's not the star of the story. No. You guys have enough stories. Leave us alone. Okay.
I know.
You have all of history.
Now, you're right. This party that she's going to host, it's incredible. Champagne, like lots of champagne.
I guess at that time, okay, we live in France. Champagne is
we're like
a Tuesday.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. But like at that time, like champagne from France. So I had to go from France on a boat across
through the East Coast, paying taxes.
At this time when there are not really roads, like that was a huge
Bottles
journey
are breaking.
for this luxury.
It's getting hot. Things can get
exploding.
There you go.
Just imagine the trip of a bottle of wine from Champagne, France. It must have been an enormous sum of money.
Well, and Colorado had just become a state too. This is very, get a sense of like 1920s kind of energy movement building, like that's kind of the vibe that we're getting. But yeah, following the story of a bottle of champagne itself is incredible.
I mean, I just think about it, I'm like...
And there's not just one, there's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. This is hugely like luxurious and extravagant. And
there was also caviar, and they're all sort of eating and dancing. This admirer as well had apparently brought her a gown from Paris that cost, at the time, $800. So that...
Oh, at the time?
Yeah.
So at that time, $250 was $7,000.
How much was this shit?
Cannot math.
No, I'm not going to do it. But this is a ton of money.
Thousands. I can't.
Who knows?
Someone, can you do the math for us? Thank you.
This is hot couture in the Wild West. Like, this is eccentric. Mm-hmm. I had found a really dubious source, by the way, but it was the only one that described the gown. It had described the gown as shell pink chiffon gown that was adorned with sequins and seed pearls.
Pearls.
So she would have fitted in Paris, mm-hmm. but she's standing out west.
A thought: does this not make her a target?
I don't know. You would think,
but you know what I mean. Like they're like, oh, this woman is so rich. Let's rob her. But I guess not. Okay, good.
Well, late in the night. After a squabble or after being exhausted, again, details. Something happens. She decides to go to bed. One of the girls went upstairs to check in on Pearl after the party had ended because it went late into the night, early in the morning. The girl went in and they found Pearl unconscious in her bed. So they rushed for the doctor, but it was too late.
And also doctors in those days. But okay, so she died?
Yeah, she was pronounced dead in the early hours of June 5th. So the morning after the party... the doctor classified her death as an accidental overdose of morphine. It was known that she took morphine to help her sleep. This is very common for the time. Very easy to overdose on morphine.
And it echoes of My Dear Sweet Marilyn Monroe. Was it an accidental dose or was I onto something when I said she's a target?
Right, well...
Could have been either way.
I don't know. But everybody seems to agree that it was...
accidental.
So... After she's found dead, or after she's really declared dead, morphine overdose, there is a note that's sent back to Chicago to her sister that Pearl had passed away, or Eliza.
Mm-hmm, right.
Passed away. So somebody knew her original name. So her sister, whose name is also not mentioned, makes the long journey back to Cripple Creek to... pay her respects, to see her one last time. They'd been separated for 20 years, and this was her dear sister who was brave and had gone out west to be a hat maker for wealthy women. Mm-hmm. Well,
wink, wink.
She comes back and that illusion was gone.
Oh, she didn't know any of it.
She didn't know.
Oh.
She sees the body of a woman with, like I said, synthetic colored red hair, an exotic pink dress. She reeked of perfume and booze.
And look at her environment, like
Her
look at her
environment.
house, what is going on? Who are all these girls?
And somebody let on to her that she was the most successful brothel madam in all of Cripple Creek. And so her sister, horrified, left immediately. She
Her
didn't want
family.
anything to do with the funeral, didn't pay for it. She left her behind.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Now, despite her financial success too, or what looked to be her financial success, apparently her estate wasn't enough to even cover her funeral costs. She had that loan from New York.
Oh.
So her sister refused to cover. Her estate is not worth shit. Many people in town started kind of suggesting things. The most common suggestion was auctioning off the dress she died in.
That's cold.
To cover the cost of her funeral. I mean, oh my god, because it was that chiffon gown from Paris, right?
Right.
But when that didn't fly, they then said maybe we can make arrangements for her burial. We'll get somebody just to build a coffin.
How much could it have cost?
Right. It's
But-
a box and digging up dirt.
Right, and maybe a service like
Wow. But just as the town began to start organizing things, a letter in the mail arrived from this admirer. Well, this admirer and Pearl apparently began to argue. Pearl was like, screw you, I'm going to bed. And he went straight back to Denver. He didn't even stay. So he's not a suspect in her death. Although I look at him and I think, kind of weird.
right.
Anyways, so this admirer, who has yet to be named, sent a letter back to Cripple Creek from Denver. He had asked in this letter that she be buried in that pink gown, and he sent along a check of $1,000 to give her the funeral she deserved. A band played mournful tunes. It was, oh my god, it was incredible. Actually, let's do something fun. I want you to describe a photo here for us. Now, actually, there's a couple. I'm going to try my best to make it not so blurry. But these are photos that we know from her funeral.
Okay. So this is her funeral. Okay, we see some men in suits, as you would expect. There's a wooden carriage. That must be him carrying her coffin it's overflowing with flowers.
Yeah.
It looks like he has those black horses.
Yep.
And there's a procession. There's a lot of people.
There are a lot of
Walking.
people. It's really elaborate to see to see that sort of thing.
This is a paved road, and you see the Old West style of buildings in the background with a lot of people dressed in their mourning clothes.
She's buried in the cemetery. Her grave is still there. You can go visit it. But you can also go visit her house. It's still there. The old homestead. It became a girls' school.
Oh.
And then a private residence. And now it operates as a museum for a few months out of the year. So if you happen to find yourself in Cripple Creek, you can literally go to the spot. None of the things she owned are there, I don't believe. Although check in with their tour guides. Maybe they'll tell you something different. One last thing. They played these mournful tunes as they went down to the cemetery, but when they came back, they played something happy to make the town happy, because
that's nice.
That's kind of who she was. So.
Yeah, she sounded like fun. Like she wasn't.
She was a lot of fun.
Like a bit of the life of the party, like the champagne, the dresses, the flamboyant style.
Even in death, she was still
A fun time.
a personality, allowed, and also. It's interesting. You'll see a lot of films with brothel madams, and they're slim, they're glamorous, and they have synthetic red hair over and over again. The famous one that I'm thinking of is the old movie Gone with the Wind, and Belle Watling, I believe, is her name. This character, she's a brothel madam. She's got red hair. She's got these eccentric clothes, and I would be really surprised if they didn't draw inspiration from Pearl and other brothel madams like herself.
Oh, yeah.
So that is the story of Pearl DeVere. It's really different than anything else I've done before, but I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's sad, of course, but...
How old was she when she died? Do you know?
She was 37.
Oh my God, Marilyn Monroe again. No, she was 36 and 2 months. Still,
Yeah.
very young.
A lot of life, a lot of mystery it makes me wonder about the autonomy of a woman out west. It makes me wonder about what's real and what's not. It's really interesting that that environment hasn't changed so much in certain parts of that state. It's really comforting, but also kind of just jarring.
I want to know more about the working conditions of the girls back then. I'm really, really curious.
Dependent on what level.
Exactly. Like, I'm really curious. Like, I'm gonna have to look this up on my own. But
Yeah, please.
questions for you guys as well. Like, what were the working conditions like based on the level, let's say, and what drove these girls to do that type of work? I'm really curious. I need to look it up because I really don't know. There is a really good podcast that if you like this episode, you, Ezra, and everyone listening.
Yeah, I'm listening now.
It's called The Oldest Profession.
Ooh.
It's a really, really good podcast. They talk about women from the oldest profession, from the older times until the modern times. If you liked this episode, you'll like that, and I think you'll like... And
This will be so fun.
They're interesting.
All right. You know what time it is.
Yes.
What is your verdict, Jenny, on Miss Pearl DeVere? Mrs., I'm trying my best here.
Not guilty.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like, based on what you said, that she treated her workers well. So, very much not guilty from what I've heard in this story. And a good boss. And that's all I care about. So
I agree. I think she's innocent of any charges that are pushed on her. I think Keys to the City actually is repayment for your time.
Oh my God, I've seen this.
Oh yeah, I love her. I love her. Well, that, ladies and gents, was this week's Untamed Woman. If you enjoyed this episode and you want some more, we have a huge favor to ask. You can rate, review, subscribe, and this just allows us to connect with more people like you, untamed, as all of you are. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.